Welcome to Two Wheels, and on this week's show we'll find out exactly what Jeff keeps in the bottom of his tank bag. You will be amazed. And of course we'll catch up with the riders on day 4 of their Moroccan desert tour. But first, here's wannabe biker Lynn Rodgers as she ventures onto Two Wheels for the first time to attempt her CBT.
No longer seen as a shopping basket for your Auntie Mo or a 60s Lambretta with more mirrors than a caravan, make way for the scooter boom. But whether scooting to and from work or just for fun, it's vital to get the proper training to prepare you for the road. I'm here today to do the first part, which is compulsory basic training. Also known as CBT, the course was introduced in 1990 by the DSA, Driving Standards Agency, to help reduce the very high accident rate among inexperienced motorcyclists.
We'll get you doing slow speed control, demonstrating practice left and right turns, U-turns, emergency stops. And if you feel okay and I feel everything's okay, we'll take you out on the road, come back, issue with a D196, which is the CBT, compulsory basic training.
Dave, what are we waiting for?
We're waiting to get you in the correct gear.
Ah, right, okay, what would you recommend?
Well, personally, I prefer leather.
Oh, right, I've got the perfect off-the-shoulder number. So what do you think?
That's not quite what I meant. I think we need to visit motorcycle dealers, don't you?
Oh, okay. I'm about to do my CBT and I haven't got any kit. Is there any chance you could sort me out with some gear, please?
Certainly, madam. Follow me. Two avenues of approach. One would be a textile route and one a leather route. First of all, I'll show you a textile variant. This is our new Voyager 3 jacket. 100% waterproof breathable Shelltex lining, removable thermal lining inside. It zips together the pants for added protection. It contains sea-approved styropor foam. Okay, another variant on the textile theme, the Voyager Lady Jacket, specifically again cut for ladies, this time made of 100% polyamide, which is again tear resistant and abrasion resistant. Inside it contains Hip Protect 4 armour system, and again will offer you good protection, waterproof, and you can wear it over your clothing to work. Our range of Tara pants would go nicely with that. Again, it consists of Hip Protect comfort armour inside, 100% waterproof, breathable, and would go together nicely with the Tara jacket. Okay, I'll show you the leather option anyway, because you might fancy wearing leather. Fitted with Hip Protect sports armour inside, it will zip together. Would probably offer you the best protection, but actually whether or not it's really suitable for a girl about town on the scooter. However, I can't be held responsible for the envious glances you'll get whilst wearing this equipment.
Cheers! Leave it. So this is the Voyager 3. It's waterproof, breathable, tear resistant Cordura, but it's not really me. I feel like a bit of an astronaut. Oh, Alan, I don't suppose you've got any boots? Thank you. And while you're at it, some gloves. Thank you. That's more like it. Voyager Lady Jacket, Tara pants, breathable, tear resistant, Hip Protect armour, shoulders, elbows. Ooh, I'm ready to go. Oh, full grained, robust, cowhide. Nice sporty little number. This is the tribal 2-piece. But is it a bit OTT for a CBT, if you know what I mean? Pussy galore. Eat your heart out. Not quite a leather catsuit, but a nice stylish leather 2-piece and still with plenty of protection. I think this is the one. So, I've got my kit sorted out. What else do I need? Helmet. Alan! Oh, nice shiny helmet. So why do you recommend this one then?
HJC have produced a fiberglass helmet with an ACU, that's an auto cycle unit in gold stamp, which means in theory you could actually go racing wearing it.
So is this one pretty much middle of the range then?
And you're only paying about £115 for this helmet. You could actually go in this price range anywhere from £450 for a top of the range Arrow down to sort of £45–50 for a B-class non-ACU recognised helmet. Middle of the range, it suits your purpose just right, and £115 for an A-class gold helmet is good quality and good value for money.
Okay, it feels a bit tight, this Ellen, on my head. Is that how it should be?
If you just sort of hold your head straight up, I'd expect to see the rim of the helmet, the rim of the padding touching the centre of your forehead. You can feel it gripping your head. It's mildly uncomfortable but not painful.
Yeah.
Also, your head is actually situated inside the crown of the helmet.
Yeah.
If I was to hold the helmet like that and ask you to move your head left to right, you want minimal movement,
right.
And likewise up and down, minimal movement.
Okay.
Like I say, it needs to be mildly uncomfortable because it will give, but not so uncomfortable that it's painful the minute you walk out the shop.
Okay, thanks for that, Ellen, that's great. Well, I'm all kitted out now, so it's back to the test centre.
Now the other week I spoke about maps and said I always like to plan out my route in advance and keep a little route card like this one here, and I put the mileage down in between different points so you always know where you are, where you can plan your stops. But what's the easiest way of actually getting those mileages? Well, because you can look at your map. I've always got the mileage printed alongside between centres. You can add them all up, you can stick a ruler on there, but it's a bit crude. Best thing to do is get yourself a little map wheel like this one. This one's a good old mechanical sort. You can get a digital, but then you've got to worry about keeping the batteries and all the rest of it. On the top of a map, you'll always see there's a scale bar on there. So I'm going to set this at 0, put it on 0 there, run it along there, and to 50 divisions, which is always the easiest. 50 kilometres happens to be 5 divisions on here. So let's put that back to 0. We'll nip down to the south of France, which is where we are on here, down to Bazières. Let's go on this Route Nationale and N road down here. There we go, around a few bends. Then we'll jump on the auto route along to Carcassonne. Then I'm going to turn off and go down here all the way through to Foix. How far is that? It's just over 150 kilometres. Piece of cake, and far better than messing around adding up those individual miles. But that little bit of kit there, you're going to say, well, where are you going to keep that? Stick it in your pocket? No, you keep that in your tank bag. Super useful tank bag. So here's mine. My friend goes everywhere with me. What else have I got in there? I'm going to put that in the top there. Also, keep my tyre pressure gauge in there, nice and handy. Keep a mobile phone in there, because if you are travelling, well, wherever you're travelling, have your mobile with you. You should have breakdown cover. You need to phone them up, don't you? Wallet, to keep wallet in there with credit cards, but I keep it on a security chain with one of those quick release clips there. I've got a key ring on the wallet. Now that's to stop me dropping it. When you open the top of here, and we'll say you're at a toll booth and you want to pay by credit card, it's so easy to be fumbling around with it, drop your wallet on the floor, and then you can't reach down and get it. There's traffic behind you, got all that hassle. So keep it attached. And also, if you do actually forget to do up the top of your tank bag, which I have done once or twice, you're not going to lose your wallet because you've got it secured in there. You might lose your phone. What else? On another little key ring, I always carry 2 sets of earplugs, proper tailored set in there, and then some rubber ones as a standby. So that's the top part of it. Really useful bits of kit. I'm going to zip that one up because down. Let's do it around the other way. 2 zips on this one, because then you've got another section, the main section here. You can see why I call it a handbag, can't you? Because in there you've got space for loads of stuff. And incidentally, if you're used to tank bags, you'll probably know this anyway, but there's a zip that runs around there. If I undo that, you get another couple of inches of depth in here. There we have healthcare advice for travellers. You also get your E111 form, but I keep that in this little plastic wallet that you get from a stationer's. Keeps it nice and dry and tidy. Put that down there. Spare pair of gloves. If you get wet gloves, there's nothing worse than riding with wet gloves, so always take a spare pair. Shouldn't have got wet in the first place if I actually use my old over mitts there. That's if you're in monsoon conditions. I always carry a spare pair of old sunglasses. Just stick them in the top there. You never know when they're going to be useful. What else have we got? A chamois leather, you might think. What's he going to do? Clean his bike? No. If you've got this is synthetic chamois leather. I always carry water with me. Really important because you can dehydrate if it's a hot day. So that's for a drink, but it's also to squirt on there, clean the visor, clean your headlamp, clean your mirrors. Or if you do have a bit of mechanical trouble, you know those little film boxes that you never know what to do with, do you? Well, I always put a little bit of a hand cleanser in there, a bit of Swarfiga in that one. You don't need much, but if you've been messing around with the chain or checking tyre pressures, mucky mitts, bit on there, then you can swill them and dry them off with that. It's really dead easy. Keep it in a polythene bag, keep it nice and moist. More polythene bags. I keep some change in that one and a spare bag if you're doing a little bit of shopping. You've got a bag to take stuff away with you. Just a bit of spare change, you never know when it's going to be useful. Don't forget your chain. You've got to keep your chain well lubed. You could be doing 1,000 miles on holiday away from home. You don't want to go round shopping for more lubrication. Carry one with you. So I carry one with me in there. Also, you need anti-mist for the inside of your visors or goggles. I carry a torch with me as well. See, this is just going on and on like a magic box. I carry a mini first aid kit that I've knocked up myself. It's only got antihistamine in there, some headache tablets and that sort of stuff, a couple of plasters, but at least it's something. Now another old box of pills or whatever it was in there at one time. In there, a bit of foam, and inside there I've actually can't get to it, but never mind, oh there we are, actually keep a couple of spare bulbs in there because you're supposed to have such things with you, especially when you're on the continent. Around the outside of it, I've got a couple of very strong rubber bands. Made myself actually from an old inner tube. And if you said, well, you haven't got an old inner tube, go down to the local tyre store, you can get one. But those rubber bands can be so useful in an emergency. Believe me, I've used them umpteen times. More polythene bags. What will we do without them? If you haven't got the luxury of waterproof boots, now this might seem a bit odd, but these thin supermarket bags are absolutely fantastic. You can stick your feet in them, stick them inside your boots, and you haven't got any extra bulk of a sort of a strong bag, so they'll mould to your feet and keep them nice and dry. I said I got my water in there. Let's just put that out of the way. Got a multi-tool. Oh, it's dropped on the floor, never mind. Got one of those multi-tools. Got this one very cheap from a petrol station, but they're really good. Pair of pliers, a knife, all that sort of stuff, little screwdriver. Keeps it nice and handy no matter what goes wrong. And last but not least, some tissues, because you never know, you might need to wipe your nose.
And I thought it was just my wife's handbag that held everything bar the kitchen sink. But anyway, still to come on Two Wheels after the break, we'll be catching up with Lynn on her CBT, and it's day 4 of the Moroccan desert trip. Welcome back to Two Wheels, and before we catch up with our riders in Morocco, let's see how Lynn's getting along with her CBT.
Right, I've got my clobber, let's get to work. The bike I'm going to be riding today is the Honda SH125. It can reach up to 65 miles per hour and it does about 90 miles to the gallon. It retails at about £2,000.
This 125cc is the maximum capacity that I'll be allowed to ride on the roads unaccompanied after I've done my CBT. And this one's automatic, so no fancy gears to worry about.
But before you go out on the road, we need to know that you can come to a stop and brake correctly. We also need to show you how to control the bike at slow speeds, and there's a few more exercises we need to do before you go out on the road.
The first ones are figures of 8, around the cones and U-turns. The figure of 8 might look like part of the cycle proficiency test, but it's actually much harder. The scooter suddenly seems much heavier when you're trying to control it around tight corners. Ooh, Carl Fogarty, eat your heart out. With the cones, the secret is to keep to a constant speed, almost as if you're using the back brake as a clutch. U-turns, another tricky manoeuvre, but I managed to turn it round in one. That's an emergency controlled stop, but I think I need a bit more practice.
The practice you've had on this car park this morning will help you once you get out on the road, okay, in dealing with the traffic and the traffic lights and the obstacles that we're going to come across.
Well, I'm feeling pretty confident. I think I've got the basics at handling the bike and everything. I think we're ready to hit the open road with the instructor and the aid of a one-way radio system. Let's go. Riding a scooter might be a bit like sitting on a washing machine on slow spin, but it'll get me from A to B, and hey, I look the part.
Bikes are very vulnerable to other road users. We want to make sure that you are seen.
Hence the lovely fluorescent vest. It might not be fashionable, but it certainly draws attention to you.
Keep a safe distance from the other vehicles, make sure you don't get too close.
My mum always taught me to treat every other road user as an idiot.
It's essential that you ride according to the road and weather conditions.
Because blasting along at top speed on a wet morning with the sun glaring in your eyes from the reflections on the road won't do you any favours.
Trying to anticipate other road users and beware of aggressive drivers.
Road rage is common. Get out of the way! Only joking. The 2-hour session out on the road navigates you through all potential obstacles. Everything from roundabouts and traffic lights to junctions. Oh, I've been on the road for 2 whole hours. I'm freezing, I'm knackered. But now for the moment of truth. Fingers crossed.
So, did I pass my CBT? Watch this space on Meta Motors.
Regular viewers may remember we did an article showing you all the bits and pieces on this fancy R1, loads of bolt-on bits and pieces that cost an absolute fortune. So we thought we'd extend that and go on to the subject of things you'd buy for your bike that you don't really need, that are literally replacing the originals when there's nothing wrong with the originals. So we're going to spend big bucks, loads of money on stuff that is perhaps useless. But if you're a bit of a poser, there's no harm in it. For example, these are really poser, these Harris footrest hangers. They've got the whole kit together with the foot pegs down there fitted to this bike. They look beautiful. You've got the gear change lever, the brake lever and the foot pegs and adjustable hangers. A couple of £100 worth. Nicely produced stuff, hand finished, polished up, all made in the UK. Then you've got these babies here, these gillies, and these are different in respect that they're not polished up or anything, but you can buy them polished. They do anodised alloy ones like this, titanium coloured, gold coloured. I like them because they come with these nice carbon sort of heel plates, and they look different, the sort of style, and that's what it is. They all look different. These look different again. These are Arrow produced. In this case in Italy. I've always been an avid fan of their exhaust systems, very race related, very posy as well. So these items that you're going to spend £200, £300, £400 on if you wish, do cost an awful lot of money and do no more of a job than the original equipment. But hey, we all need to pose. The only thing they don't come with, and that is the file you need and the vise to hold them in while you file the ends off to make it look like you were going round the corner, just like Troy Bayliss.
Welcome to day 4 of our Moroccan desert tour, and we join the riders now shortly after sunrise as they emerge from their tented village. As you'll see, accommodation isn't exactly 5-star in the middle of the desert, but there's always time for some aerobics, Moroccan style.
Day 4, it's a long day, it's about 200 k's and it's all off-road. Starts off sandy, very sandy cut-up tracks. For about 32 k's brings us to the actual village of Rimal, where we fuel up from whiskey bottles and all sorts, decanted from a drum. Then we have 6 kilometres of what's called fesh, basically bull dust. It's like flour, must be ½ a metre thick, deeply rutted, and it's always a laugh watching the clients in it. After that, it's flat out across dry riverbeds, through sandy cut-up tracks, till we get to Zagora.
Today the riders would spend more hours in the saddle than on any previous day. covering somewhere close to 250 kilometres, so it's vital to keep body fluids well topped up.
Swing on a rope, and hopefully we'll have a bucket of water. Here presto, 1 bucket of water.
That's working quite well.
Who needs taps and copper pipes and things like that?
Yeah,
Alright.
that'll do.
If you thought this kind of biking adventure was all about riding up sand dunes and negotiating tricky, rocky passes, you'd be very much mistaken. It's not uncommon to hit speeds approaching 140 kilometres an hour in the desert. Of course, it's the wheels and the tyres that take most of the pounding.
Saw quite a few straight-ons on that rocky track. A few people on stops on corners.
Lots of rocks, average speed about 80 kilometers per hour.
Something wrong with that GPS as well.
A lot of warm sun.
It's showing maximum
and,
speed.
Lovely roads.
54 k's.
And some camels.
Fantastic. Bit rocky and bit hard, bit sandy. But no, it was good. My arms are killing there, and I want a beer, and I'm going everywhere.
That's all from Two Wheels for this week, but on next week's show we send motorcycle journalist Chris Moss along to Bruntingthorpe to check out a world record attempt on a quad bike. And Jeff will be explaining some of the jargon associated with motorcycle suspension. And it's the final day of the Moroccan Desert Tour.